as Dwebs would say, welcome back to the world's biggest collection of twats. So this is chapter 2-4. Well, actually, no, Abominable Knack was the previous one. I forgot what the name of this chapter was. Whatever.
Into the Fortress.
Boring chapter number 4.
I believe it's called Into the Fortress or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Welcome to the world of twats, ruled over by Aaron Sorkin and that guy from Quantum Break.
It doesn't really matter.
I'm not quite sure it's that bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, the story is bad, but I wouldn't say it's Aaron Sorkin flavors of bad.
No, the story is not annoying, that it's just boring.
Most
of it is boring.
I'd say
most of it is boring, but there are times that pisses me off, specifically when we get further into Victor as a character. Like I said before, and I'm going to explain when it becomes relevant. I genuinely have never seen a more incompetently written villain than fucking Victor. But
Yeah,
we'll get
about
to
that. Considering the competent villain, the sci-fi, kinda sci-fi theme, and the incredible racism through and through, wouldn't it fit more if it's similar to a Neil Blomkamp movie?
Yeah. This is Neil Blomkamp for kids.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually,
God,
yes.
That's a horrifying prospect.
Well, let's see. He's making short films, and hey, maybe he will make a kids film.
By the way, did we do one of his short films?
No, we haven't yet.
Wait, that's something we could do in the future.
Yeah, I guess.
Wouldn't it be much cooler to actually jump through that sequence instead of watching it? Just saying. Alright. Also, Grant Kirkhope took over.
Yeah. Great, more traps.
Seriously, what is up with the cheapness of this? There's like pits that you wouldn't be able to guess like at all, covered by grass that looks like ordinary grass, arrows that just come out like that, enemies that can pretty much snipe you from unfair distances.
Not just that, Jova. I'm kinda guessing from Pedro how he
Oh,
plays,
because
that,
I'm totally supposed to know that you can break that door.
Not just that, Jova. I'm guessing through
Well, to be fair,
Pedro's
the door kind of
playstyle
sticks out. But go ahead, Tim.
that this is one of those games where the delay for you to jump is enough for you to actually plummet into a pit while you actually were pressing the jump button.
Well, actually, no. I'll give it that. The controls are fine. I never... My problem is not so much with the mobility of the control still. My big problem is the moves themselves. Like, for example, the dodge. The dodge is quite unreliable because it covers so little distance.
Which is weird because it's tied to the right analog stick. Again, kind of like exactly like God of War, but in those games, the dodge actually works and it gives you enough invincibility for him to rearrange your strategy. Here it just seems very brief and gives you very little time to dodge anything. It's more situational in those situations where the time stops for a second when you're about to receive like a long-range attack. In those cases, I guess it works, but normally in combat, it seems to be just a pain in the ass.
Heck, even the Ape Escape games, as unorthodox as they are using the right analog stick the way it's used, feel more orthodox as platformers in this game. And they're not even platformers first and foremost. Yes, Pedro?
Feel free to remind me to what was Santa Monica doing in between God of War 3 and the new one that's coming out?
The Order 1886 cutscene.
Okay. Do we know what happened with that game? Because I really have to know.
Also, it wasn't. To give a bit more context, it wasn't after God of War 3. They first, they started to do a bit more side help, in a sense they took over the development of PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale after Superbout was dismissed, and unceremoniously shut in every DLC plans, completely cancelling whatever we were going for, having Darth in the game. Thank you very much. Then they did, especially in the same time, we were doing God of War Ascension, which is a spin-off of that counts as a prequel of God of War. Also for the PS3, which had multiplayer, and I never understood why putting multiplayer in God of War was a great idea to begin with. But
The reason I'm asking is because wouldn't it make more sense for Mark to use Santa Monica for this game instead of
that's
Japan
what I
Studio?
kind of was proposing in the previous part, but yeah. And then after that, we were developing the other 1886 as a launch title for the game.
Look, and now Victor is somewhere in here on top, even though he was supposedly down there with the rest of the crew.
And now Victor is trying to kill us.
With Ape Escape
Oh
Net.
my God, Victor! And here's the first part about Victor being incompetently written. Even though we're on his side, now for some reason it's trying to kill us. Why are you?
Also, here's another stupid thing. How the heck did Victor get free? Yike, we
don't
never
know,
see the scene of him being free.
That's what Trevor once said. This continuity error is so bad. I'm not even kidding. When I saw it in Dark Lord Shadow 1's review, I was literally like going, "Wow, is it real?" No, it really is like he doesn't. No,
I mean, the best things you can guess is that he may, at this point of the story, be for you to maybe guess that he's in cahoots with the goblins, but if I recall correctly, not at all.
Gio, I wish he was in cahoots with the goblins,
he's not.
but it's far worse than that. Oh, by the way, here
He's just there for no reason.
you know what's even worse is the fact that, him trying to capture Knack now makes no sense given his plans, because let's just say if he captured Knack now, that would just have put a screw in his plans. Also, it's moments like these what I'm talking about. Like, those doors also stand out like the one that you broke down, but you can't break those. Again, some of the hidden places of these power-ups are incredibly cryptic, and not in the intuitive way.
Yeah.
And furthermore, going back
in fact, this is actually a part that I've been looking forward to, because this is the part where we start to really see what's the big problem with Victor as a villain. So stay tuned for that, because I'm gonna have a lot to rant about.
Yeah, believe it or not, Victor has not yet begun to be stupid.
No, no. This is
Still acting like Einstein compared to what he's gonna become. But yeah, again, like I said though, him trying to capture Knack now makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. He's not in cahoots with the goblins, and Knack is actually trying to help him! That's another thing! Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
See, yeah, here's another thing about Victor. He kills people. Well, as you can see right now, he's trying to kill someone who's trying to help him for no given reason.
To quote Dark Cloud Jordan 1's review, "Oh my God! Stop trying to kill the people who want to help you.
Like,
stupid."
Not just that, Joe. I absolutely kinda hate. Oh, hold on,
Cutscene. Oh God, the scene! I hate it. Okay, notice this.
Okay, he sliced him, but he didn't cut the magnet at the center. Okay.
A golem made of relics.
And now he uses his ability to bring back all the relics that he just lost. Now, can I ask something, Mark? Why wasn't this an actual gameplay thing until the sequel?
And again, remember, it's been established that if there's apparently a particle that's just the right size and shape of a relic, he can make that part of his being, like with the eyes. So, here's an idea.
Like in this exactly moment, he swung us with the sword, and now was really turned off.
Also, as you guys know, there's going to be a wood Knack power-up. So, here's my question. Knack, why don't you try breaking up pieces of all the wood here and then making that the right size so that you can make a part of you?
Hey Terry, you wanna go on a story gameplay segregation rant?
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's like I said, this game is the epitome of how that's done terribly.
My guess in this case was that the story was constructed before, but the gameplay was decided a bit later, in a sense that when they made the story, I think they were having the idea of Knack actually having that in the ability in the gameplay. But then when actually doing the gameplay, either something went wrong or their brain farted and they didn't include that.
I don't even think that would be a proper excuse, because, again...
I'm not even saying as excuse, I'm just reasoning of what may have happened.
Well, that's the thing, though. Even that... Okay, you know, I used to think that at first, except here's the problem. The story itself still actually does pretty much run with the abilities that Knack can do in-game for the most part. Which means really the only thing that's different is just Knack having these other abilities. Which makes it seem like, yeah, we know the abilities, but for some reason, Knack can only do this sort of stuff in the cutscenes. It's like, you know, if it were different enough, I could maybe see that being the case, but no! They must have known what Knack's powers were, given the story.
Alright, cutscene.
No, he just runs away again.
No, never mind, I forgot. This boss battle, this guy is quite persistent. It takes quite a lot to fucking defeat. Also, Grant, get back to scoring ahead in time. You're not needed here. You can save it.
Hey, by the way, you know how pieces of a soldier's armor fall off in a similar manner to the relics? It feels like those were also supposed to be something you could assimilate. And it doesn't help that later there is a metal Knack power-up as mentioned before.
Consistency? What the fuck is that shit?
Like, it feels like at some point, okay, after they establish that ice can be gathered into him, there'd be sections where you could break off ice, and that would be joined to him. And the same with the wood and metal ones.
Yeah, notice how that thing can only be activated if I have a specific size. Fortunately, they had a box right there with the right number of relics to make me happy enough.
Why not just...
This is how you solve the puzzle too. You break the box and you step on the thing. There you
10
go.
picarats, and that's generosity.
See, here's the thing, Tio. The cutscenes need you to be a certain size. I'm not kidding.
Yes, they do.
It's pretty much scripted.
We already talked about it, but sure.
It's pretty much decided for you what size you're gonna be during certain scenes, which...
I think it's a cutscene now. Oh, never mind.
Nope.
Let me check when the cutscene is.
Whoa, okay, you can shoot dark arrows from that shield, apparently. Oh wait, never mind, it's just a sword.
Yeah, the technology of the goblin seems to be all over the place.
Exactly, Theo. It goes back to what I said in the previous part. Can we play as the goblins, please?
Like,
the goblins look like they would be a lot more fun to play as.
You know what's fun, Pedro? There was actually a title in development as a launch title for the PS4, which was supposed to be like traditional team shooter fights, kind of like Team Fortress 2 or Overwatch, but about garden gnomes, similar to what according to development, similar to what the goblins, the weapon the goblins were using in this game, but apparently got cancelled. It was done by the team who did some minor games for a minor studio for Sony, but for some reason it got cancelled. I'll like to check. There was a video talking about it in detail.
All right.
It got cancelled.
And his sword and shield just disappeared.
Alright, now I think it's cuts. Or not.
Nope. He just runs the fuck away.
Okay, I think it's now that we're gonna get big. Yeah, we're gonna get huge Knack now.
It's clear a trap now, Knack. Why do you walk in?
No,
Actually,
actually
it's not
there's
a
all
trap.
these relics here.
This is where they keep all the relics that they stole too.
Oh,
Yeah.
goody. Feast time.
There we go, giant Knack.
Knack, smash!
Is it too late to call the truce?
Believe it or not, this is actually not. He even gets even bigger than this in the final chapter.
Knack! You're massive!
I am at that.
Brilliant
What?
line.
I get the
We could
feeling
have
Let's go.
we could have had a clever retort there, but that's what they're expecting.
I get the feeling like they were expecting that to be the iconic one that everyone remembers.
Chapter 3-4, overwhelming force, and by that we mean this is the chapter where everything is a fucking cakewalk. Because of how big you are, every single goblin dies in one hit.
So essentially, Dynasty Warriors.
Oh, don't worry. In later levels, they'll also give enemies that are conveniently big enough to kill you in 3 hits when you're this big.
Yeah. Specifically in the final chapter.
You know, there are ways to have you be a towering ton of power and yet still give you challenge.
Yeah.
It doesn't
I
do
mean,
that,
to contrast with another Sony title, is in some Ratchet and Clank games there are sections where Clank becomes giant, and the challenge is according to it, but it's not cheap as it may be in this game. So, yeah.
Let's pick this up and take it with us.
Okay.
Whatever. Bye.
This
So,
track in particular sounds a little bit like.
Oh my god, I saw the shadow that was moving with a frame rate of like 10 per second.
So what was?
This track reminds me a little bit of Danny Elfman's theme for Men in Black.
So what was the point of picking up a tank if you can't really do anything with it after
Well,
everyone's beaten?
Jova, it's for the sake of fighting any enemies that are near it, because I chose to kill the enemies before I destroyed
Yeah.
the tank, so...
Yeah, exactly
For the sake
though.
of being-
There should be
Well,
a...
actually, Jova, there are points where I'm allowed to take the tank with me to the next enemy section. I think I'm gonna do it in this part.
Oh, I
There
get.
you go. There you go, Jova. Just use the tank.
Oh, I get
Yeah,
that.
if
It's just.
Igor decided to destroy the enemy first before the tank, it would have been the same thing.
I get that. It's just, it's incredibly stupidly specific. Like, for comparison's sake, in Transformers War of Cybertron, there are times when you can get like these giant artillery guns, and after you've cleared out all the enemies in the room, you can actually choose whether or not you want to carry that huge heavy gun with you. Yeah, you can't transform and you walk a bit slowly with it, but you can essentially take it with you until it runs out of ammo, pretty much. Like, you actually have a choice to. Here, it's confined to
huge
that
Knack while you
one.
have him, because right after this chapter ends, he goes back to being small Knack.
Because potatoes.
Yeah, because olives.
Yeah, I think this is where now I can take the... Yeah, now I can take it to the next section with me. Okay, there you go.
Weird how they don't even give you the choice to use it as a melee weapon that just runs out of hits instead of something that you have to throw.
I agree. And now Victor is somewhere, now for some reason back here.
And now Victor's back here and with them!
This continuity error is so bad, I honestly cannot believe Mark didn't notice this.
Also, how did you get here? You
Uh,
were
nobody-
prisoners of the goblin.
Did nobody in the development team notice this?
Okay. You know what? I've actually got a theory now. Also, Knack, bit of advice. Maybe you wouldn't want to put your one vulnerable spot, the core, like, front and center of your body.
Head for the stairs.
Head for the stairs.
You know what
Wow, he sounds so excited.
You know what I have a feeling about, Pedro?
What?
I have a feeling like, at some point, the scenes where Victor is obviously a villain were meant to be saved for later in the game, but they got some of the scenes mixed up. Like, that's what it feels like in some sections. Like, seriously, notice how Victor at least acts charismatic in some scenes, yet acts vile in other ones so blatantly. It's like,
I'm actually guessing, Drova, that some scenes, actually all the scenes in the game and almost the vast majority of the plot, outside from a generic deadline, were fought piece by piece in a completely disorganized order.
oh dear, you think that's bad? Wait till you see how we end things with the goblins in this game. Right, Pedro?
Yes. Don't expect any explanation of why the goblins are humans until the second game, though.
Well,
Yay.
but Pedro,
The only explanation you're gonna get in this game is there's something that happened back in the day called the Chaos Wars. What are the Chaos Wars? You're gonna have to wait for the sequel to find that out.
I thought it was the Crystal Wars.
Chaos Wars. That's right, kid. No, never mind.
Chaos
Yeah,
Wars is that the game with the shitty voice acting.
yeah, Joe was right. It's Crystal Wars.
Yeah, well, yeah, Chaos Wars is the one with the
Hell, even Chaos Wars is more entertaining than this, if anything, because it's incredibly easy to make fun of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one where the guy just got his family members to do it.
I
Yeah.
think that,
Stop
think-
it, Nicole. Is everyone alright?
I think the real tragic thing about this game is like, well, yeah, it's technically easy to make fun of. The problem is who's behind it, Mark Cerny. It feels wrong that we have to poke this much fun at this game for how
But
bad
it also
it is.
feel wrong justifying the wrongs of this game just because of his presence.
Yeah,
It's,
absolutely. I mean,
It's a dichotomy.
in a bout of balance for the sake of some positive thing to say about that though. Mark, awesome idea with the PS4 share play. That was an awesome idea that I genuinely hope becomes an industry standard because, as my co-commentators can attest for me, it's a really fun thing to use, and even allowed us to do playthroughs that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
So
Yeah.
wait, hold on. So so the SharePlay was Mark's
he was
idea.
Well, remember, he's the lead engineer of the console.
Wait,
Nice.
what's he doing now?
Climbing.
No, Mark Cerny.
Cerny.
He's climbing his own ego.
No. What we're saying is, for the sake of positivity, I was thanking Mark Cerny for coming up with the PS4 SharePlay, which is an awesome feature.
Alright, that. Okay.
Well, we'll need to see what he decides to do after Knack 2. Also, there was clearly a breakable wall with his kid.
Hopefully, he'll go back to being a programmer / designer for Ratchet,
And leave Japan Studio to do our things.
and keep and start working on the PS5 one.
But yeah, going back to what you guys were saying earlier, you know, the dev company behind this game, Japan Studio.
They
This
did,
is like
they did For Me to Wear Those games. They did Puppeteer. They did
They helped From
Escape.
Software doing Bloodborne, for example.
They helped Level 5 make Dark Cloud, Dark Chronicle, Rogue Galaxy, and John Dark.
dear lord, the same company that brought us all those games brought us this. But yeah, it's weird.
It's
Well,
not their problem though. This is just Mark who's handled this project so badly.
I will say this though, I do agree that this is kind of the equivalent of someone being miscast for a film. As in,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that this sort of
Like we've
brawler
said
slash
before, it
platformer
should have been
is
Santa
really...
Monica working on this.
Yeah, so I have to wonder, maybe Mark should have maybe done a change in dev companies. Like, this isn't like, say, Rise of the Darkspark, where going to a different company would have been a bad thing, because this is one of those cases where having a different company could have benefited from could have benefited the sequel.
To
If
be
you want
fair-
to make
Oh,
God of War for kids, get Santa Monica to do it then. I mean, but no, we have to have Santa Monica make
let's see.
order. Oh, go ahead.
They even arrested the robots or something. I don't know, the robots are just following them.
No,
Like,
they're
just
just
keeping
yeah,
them
oh, I guess they're not a problem anymore.
no. Remember, too. Those robots are just escorting them.
Leave it! No! It's all I've got!
Oh yeah, that thing. Oh yeah, that necklace. We'll learn about that necklace in the sequel.
Well, so
Anyway.
let me get this straight. We already have about where, Vargas's wife
And the
is
rocks just stays in place.
I would also like to mention how one rock was enough to take down one of Victor's robots.
By the way, the robot
Yeah.
is gone now. But yeah, just gonna say this, we already have a subplot about Vargas's wife being missing, and yet now Lucas apparently has a necklace that's all that's left of, and they don't even say what it's left of. Like, seriously, that's gotta be one of the most laziest ways to try and get character sympathy when you can't even mention what that necklace reminds them of.
It's just, I don't know. I think Mark knows. Okay, usually in games, people have necklaces as some kind of symbol for affection.
Memento.
Usually people have dead wives as a way for tragic backstories. So I'm just gonna have those elements and just dump them in there without any proper build or context.
The problem is like, okay. At least with Vargas, we
Mark
know.
never writes ever again. You're not good at it.
Which is weird. Didn't he help write with Ratchet and Clank and those?
No, he was just a programmer and designer. I've already told this to
Oh, wow.
to Teo. He never for Jack and Ratchet. He never did any writing. He only was programmer and designer. This is his first time writing, and it shows.
Like, seriously, I dare say even, and this is not a mark against those games, but even the original Crash Bandicoot trilogy had better stories than these. And I'm not saying that those stories were bad, it's just Crash was relatively simple. It had a lot of voice acting. It did have a lot of voice acting with the second and third game, but again, those stories were pretty basic for the most part. Entertaining, but basic. And yet they still feel more well thought out and scripted than these.
The problem is that Mark is generally trying to tell a more cinematic story because it has full-blown cutscenes. It has backstories for some characters. So you can tell you're supposed to be invested in the story. The problem is that Mark has no idea how that helps tell a fucking story.
And
trust me, the sequel doesn't get any better. The sequel dumps so much boring lore and exposition on you to make up for the lack of lore and exposition in this one. Go ahead.
It's also sad because, as for the premise itself alone, I may be even interested in what's going on in this supposed world. Because, well, some Knack design aside, the art style, and the humans especially, the art style is fine enough. It can be fixed relatively easily, but what they're telling with these stories is just so bad.
I'll bring up another complaint, but right now we got a cutscene.
Oh goody, goblin
I'll admit
robot.
I didn't
Yes,
wait
now
for
the
this.
goblin has a
This
giant
one's
robot.
all mine.
Oh, isn't that cute? They have to remind us that the goblins weren't the ones who made the
Being
tanks.
attacked
I'd
by
never have guessed.
whatever the hell that is.
Let's hope it's sturdier than it looks.
Huh.
This'll
So
be a
wait, let me
quick
get this
fight.
straight. Even though the
Great
goblin,
dialogue, Mark. Great.
so let me get this straight, Pedro. Even though, so let me get this straight. Even though the goblins weren't the ones who made the tanks, they're still
No,
capable of
He
making.
made this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made
That's
personally.
what I was about to say. Okay, so the goblins didn't make the tanks yet. They can clearly make mechas like these. Okay.
Super Robot Wars, what is that?
So here's my question then. What's the point of having tanks that weren't even made by them if they could make tanks anyway?
Don't spoil it yet, Joe, but just
No.
warn you.
No. I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just saying.
I know everybody's already guessing who it is, but might as well not.
I know.
Anyway, let me just explain the boss.
Go on.
Go ahead, Pedro.
Okay. Basically, this is the kind of boss where you're supposed to get to the boss before you can hurt him. Basically, it's all about dodging the stuff he throws at you and keep walking forward until you get to him. And then when you get to him, then you get to punch him. That's basically it.
It's pretty much like the entropy boss from Crash 3.
Which
Well-
Mark worked on, so that makes sense.
Except without the bottomless pit platforming. Which was
Yeah,
part
and
of
as you
that
can see,
challenge.
this boss is very easy and basic. Just keep doing the same thing over and over and over.
But yeah, anyway, I wasn't spoiling, I'm just saying, Miko. Okay, so they told us that, yeah, some of this tech wasn't made by the goblins, so that would assume that the goblins...
my guess is that some goblins are a bit more intelligent than others, like the chief goblin. Usually in fantasy media, the chiefs of goblins and orcs tend to be a bit more intelligent than the others, and that's why they're in
Oh,
charge.
don't worry, Tail. Oh, don't worry, Tail. They're saving that trope for the sequel.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah, this game may as well just be called. We'll save the development for the sequel.
That
Basically.
the sad thing is that that's pretty much what this game is. Anyway, my point
That's
is...
basically it. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. They were supposed to throw his bombs at him.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Joe.
anyway, my point is this, though. Whether or not some goblins are smarter than others, why not just have the goblins make all their tech for them? In a story sense, like, okay, you already have people capable. It's like how with us humans. Hey, not everyone's smart enough to make a tank, but we have plenty of people who are capable of making it. Like, you know, you don't have the soldiers necessarily make it, so what's the point of having...
Cutscene. But now we're gonna get quite a slew of cutscenes.
Oh, wow, that battle was
It's not all
really
about
quick.
the sky change colors.
Also, Mark, in order for dialogue to be entertaining, you need wit.
And
Why
for
does
no
he
reason,
become-
he becomes small
why?
again. Well,
Or
not
medium
necessarily
again.
small.
That's better.
Apparently, apparently, it tires him out to constantly be big or something. I don't know.
And
Wish they would've
peace
explained
is
All right,
the
and
law.
this is the point where
Time to get
I
back to
really
more
have to
important
wonder
matters.
Mark's morality for the heroes, but you'll see.
Wait, so peace is
Listen,
restored.
listen, just
You
listen.
drove us from our cities and into the wilderness. Were we supposed
We'll
to
expand
just
that in
stay
the
there
next game.
forever?
Typical goblin, always living in the past.
That's
Let's
racist.
not read
Well,
Protect whose city
you
first.
did push them out in the first place.
Exactly. So yeah, like Loud just said, right after they have this valid complaint,
Where can we
Vargas
find
and Ryder
this
just
gun
laugh it off. Teo, I'm losing track of which side I'm supposed to root for.
So it's like in Nier, but more shitty.
Yeah, basically.
But guys, God,
But you see, Teo, this is God of War / Nier for kids.
but guys,
Also, Tia,
Light beings
Nia,
with a small
Knack, they
space.
both have one
Let's give
syllable.
him some
They're
time.
the same.
I think he'll tell us everything.
forget
he
who's
wants.
So yeah, Ryder's gonna. So yeah, they're all gonna go back, but Ryder's gonna stay behind. Oh, this. And now Victor kidnaps Lucas for some reason.
Hey,
Oh, trust me, guys. Wait till you hear why he's kidnapping Lucas. It's so stupid. I literally facepalmed when I first saw it. Like, are you serious, Mark?
wait, why didn't the kid tell them earlier? Hey, by the way, Victor tried to kill me.
No, it's not
Chief,
that.
see what he has to
This is the
say.
first time he's done
You go.
anything like this.
Get my nephew back.
oh yeah, that's right. Lucas is Ryder's nephew
I
while
love-
being
I
Vargas'
love-
assistant.
I love how Vargas isn't even shocked that.
And you got a trophy.
Yeah, chieftain badge. Anyway, I love how Vargas is not even shocked at the fact that Victor kidnapped Lucas. He just kind of accepts it and goes. All right, now we're about to learn why. So you're probably wondering, guys, why did Victor kidnap Lucas? We're about to learn why. And this is where I get angry. So get ready.
Doctor. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Hi,
Please
Mercy. I
come
mean,
this way.
Katrina.
Victor's expecting you. Hard to believe this is what destroyed 20 of our toughest robots.
So there you go. Turns out he did nothing to
Katrina,
Lucas.
He's quite dangerous.
Victor, why did you kidnap my assistant?
Doctor, don't be so melodramatic. I merely took him for a ride in my flyer.
That's
You.
pedophilia.
There you go. You needed his full
Seems like you're
attention.
getting it
You brought him here because he wanted to get him to full attention. And you didn't think of talking to him. Doctor,
Oh,
could you please
no.
I'll talk to you about something. All right, here you go.
It gets even better.
It gets even
I
better.
put in my time. If you care so much, why don't you track down the rest of the goblins yourself and finish them off? Point of fact, I've been working on something much more interesting. Take a look.
Here we go.
Yes, it's
I've been
true.
working on.
A giant relic.
weighing more than a ton.
I've been
Such
working on
thing
a
should not be
cube.
possible, of course. Yet here it is.
Okay.
Boy, where did
Hold
you
on,
find it?
don't worry, Jova. I'll handle it.
I have dozens like this.
Those are the
We are on
boxes
the
where
verge
the
of the
Saint
next
Seiya
step of
armors
human
are
evolution.
contained.
I need
The
to get it out of
power
my
of
system,
these
so I'll do
giant
it.
relics will be the engine that drives
I do just want to point one thing
But
out,
to
though.
take that next step,
Go ahead.
For
I
reference
need
sake, Vargas has been studying
What's
relics.
he got to do
Like,
with this?
this has been
He's
like
the
his
key.
life's work.
which is to say,
Wait
I
till
need
you
your
hear
help,
what Victor's motivation was.
and I need him to be cooperative.
And there you go. This is why he kidnapped Lucas. He wanted to
What is he doing?
he wanted to come to and attract the doctor here. Oh, actually, hold on. I'll save my rent for the gameplay section that we're gonna get now.
But
And Knack can do that.
I'll
Okay.
remember. His core can control relics. Anyway, chapter 4-1. This game.
and he let in the big giant relic before.
Okay,
he
let me
went
break it
with
down.
you.
Let me break this down to you people. Victor kidnapped Lucas so he could get the full attention of Vargas to politely ask him to help him study the giant relics. That's it. Victor is actually not actually a villain. He's not out for power or anything malicious. He just wants to study the relics and find the next generation of big technology. And his way of asking the doctor to help him is by kidnapping his assistant to attract him here. And
For comparison's sake, Tio, imagine if Dr. Doom kidnaps you, Storm, just to get Reed Richards to help him.
I don't. What
Didn't
What
It's
kind of
funny you
writing
mentioned-
is this?
It's funny you mentioned that, Joe, but I'll spare it for later on.
no,
but
no.
before- After his rant.
Well, even better. Imagine if he was like doing it just to get Reed Richards to help him with a mundane activity, like not even take over the world, just a mundane activity.
Hey, by the way, I kidnapped your wife. Do you want to go to the theme park?
This is. Victor has no reason to be a villain. The only reason he's even a bad guy is because he keeps kidnapping people for no reason and hurting the people who want to help him. I don't understand Mark's method of writing this character. It makes
Also-
no sense.
Oh, you think that's bad? It gets
Also,
even better.
Because he has conveniently placed the relic spots and lamps that are exclusively made of sunstones.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, you're right. It gets even better. There's actually going to be a scene in this game where they clearly have a shot to actually make Victor into more of a tragic, misunderstood villain, a more sympathetic villain.
But they don't do it.
Yep, they not only do they not
House was made of that stuff.
not only do they not take that chance, they practically spit in your face for thinking that they would take that chance.
It's not even just that, Jova. Like, and you might have also noticed how he said that, oh, I also need Knack, because he's apparently found this door in a ruin, and he thinks that Knack might be the key to opening that door, because he has this ability to control relics, which will be necessary for opening that door, supposedly. Keep that in mind for when we actually get to that door, because, believe it or not, Victor's stupidity doesn't end here.
By the way, I love how they actually they just had a cutscene where, Ryder reminds us that Lucas is his nephew in addition to being Vargas' assistant. Yet Ryder does not accompany us here when his nephew's been kidnapped.
I don't understand, Mark. Mark, Okay, Mark, writing 101. You have to have the characters' actions not contradict each other.
Hey guys, my daughter just got
Okay.
kidnapped. Allow me to not come with you for no reason. Like,
Theo, explain this to me. What? How does this in any way make sense? I don't understand this.
Oh.
I can't even make a proper analogy. This is so stupid that I've never heard any other writer.
Are we doing the Resident Evil 4 sequence of?
No, now we're going to introduce
Discharge
Stealth
weapon
Knack.
too. If we break those beams, we're
Oh,
toast.
wonderful.
oh, Stealth Knack. I completely forgot about that power up.
Stealth Knack serves for no other purpose aside from going through lasers. That's it.
Which kind of makes him intangible.
And keep in mind, Theo, in order to be Stealth Knack, well, you'll see for yourself in a moment, I think. Let me see. Do you see Stealth Knack in this? Oh, actually, no. We don't see Stealth Knack in this part yet. I'll explain. I'll properly explain it in part 5.
Also,
anyway,
also Victor, Villainy 101, don't tie your security gates to your mooks. Wow. Killed.
I think I'm gonna die of a heart attack.
And he says no life system.
Be careful, Pedro. 3 heart attacks, and that's it.
I'm trying to come up with a proper analogy for Victor's stupidity, but I can't. I've never seen a villain this incompetently written.
You know, maybe if the gameplay were better, we wouldn't have to focus on the story, but the problem is that the story is the most interesting thing about this game, because...
Not just that, yeah, that's the sad part. The stupidity of the story is its most interesting aspect. How sad is that?
Because, again, with the gameplay, it's even more mundane than the...
The gameplay gets incredibly boring after 1 hour. And this is a 10-hour game, so...
Oh look, Crash Bandicoot had a chase sequence, so now we gotta do this. I guess electricity hurts Knack?
Now I want to play Crash 2's running away music.
Oh!
And that was it.
That was it. Moving on.
Wow! That was lame.
Yeah.
Also,
I don't understand. I don't understand. Like,
I'm trying to remember, did any of the non-Naughty Dog platformers have music that involves running away from stuff?
yes! There was
plenty.
the boulder. Wait. Non-Crash one now?
No, there's non-Naughty Dog ones, sorry. Non-Naughty Dog
Yes.
he means
Yes.
Crash games that were made by Naughty Dog.
Yes, Wrath of Cortex and Crash Insanity did have soundtracks involving being chased.
Mm-hmm.
Especially to
Wasn't
Insanity.
Brutality's case just have an avalanche bearing down on your ass?
Dwibs, to Insanity
Don't
had
be
several. To Insanity had several cases. You getting chased by the natives, you getting chased by the Rusty Walrus, you getting chased by bugs in the Academy of Evil, you Cortex being chased by a bear, Cortex being chased by Evil Crash.
Come on, Tail. Don't be so melodramatic. The only reason I stole your PS4 controller is so that you can come here and get the trophies for King's Tail for me, because I suck at that game.
Just ask, good.
You know,
I know, but King's Tail. That leads into my next complaint. Victor, if you want to ask Vargas for help, here's an idea.
Don't be
Ask
shy.
him.
Don't be
Why just write a letter?
again,
Just turn to him and say, "Hey, Vargas, by the way, I have this giant relic that I found, and I know that you're an expert on these things, so can you and Knack come with me and help me study it? We could really find something cool together." There you go, see? This is this little cool thing that people usually do called conversation. I don't know if you've heard of it.
and again, you know, this would make sense if, like, Vargas had no interest in relics because, you know, it's because of relics that he kind of lost his wife during that expedition. But no, he chomps at the bit to study relics. And yet, Victor felt he needed to ask him to.
I'm sorry, I can't get over it. It's so stupid. I can't get over it. I know there's a game going on, but I can't get past it. It's so stupid. It boggles my mind.
But believe it or not, guys, there is one character who I dare say may actually be more stupid than Victor.
Mark wrote this. He wrote this into his computer. He looked at it and thought, yes, I'm gonna go with this.
Wait, hold on. They were on the balcony, Vargas looked at the plane and smiled, and then we immediately cut to them flying the plane. Brilliant.
I can't believe he fell for the old remote-controlled plane trick.
There you go.
Oh,
It
wait, it was a
turns
trick.
out he had a decoy fake plane.
Okay, so they waited
How
on...
convenient.
Okay, so they waited on Victor's property until nighttime for... some reason? Yeah, why don't they go back to the letter?
They're going to try. Basically, the doctor wants to infiltrate Victor's mansion so he can find out about those giant relics for himself. Again,
Really?
this won't be a problem if these two fucking morons just fucking talked.
Okay. Vargas, I get being mad at Victor for wanting to kidnap your nephew to do an incredibly easy task, but why do you suddenly feel the need to sneak back in and go study it? Like, you could have just said yes.
Mark wrote this. And he submitted it, and nobody said, Mark, maybe there's something worth changing.
I'm more astonished by the fact that
idea that Mark wrote this.
I'm more astonished by the fact that he got paid to write this.
That should be the tagline of this part. Mark.
You've been surprisingly calm about it. What's your take on these developments?
Should I give it attention?
Believe it or not, Tio, it's
Okay.
gonna get worse.
So this is your new trend. You don't give attention to attention horse. All right, sure. I understand. Let's just end this in the next part. We see Stealth Knack. See you then.
See ya.
See you.